I'd like to call to order the emergency meeting of the Charlotte County Airport Authority for Thursday, January 8th, and I'd like to start off with at least the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please turn off your cell phones. Anyone wishing to address the...
Oh, can I do roll call, please?
Oh yeah, we're all here.
Mr. Leskovich?
Here.
Mr. Swellen? Here. Mr. Hackett?
Here.
Mr. Hansick?
Here.
Mr. Parrish?
Here.
Mr. Thornberry?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to the basic reason for the emergency meeting, and that's a discussion related to the Allegiant contract, this documents. Turn it over to Mr. Parrish to give us a history of the negotiations which have been going on for some time and where we stand with their contract renewal.
So two things. I've given you all a copy of the contract that has been sent to Allegiant and to Sun Country. Sun Country's already sent theirs back, and we're going to approve that at the next meeting. Our negotiations with them lasted about a week and a half, and they were happy with everything. We started negotiating with Allegiant about 2 years ago, talking about how the model has been very successful, but costs are going up. We have been discussing about $1 million, $1.2 million in costs that did not exist prior 10 years ago when we signed the original agreement, as well as our manpower costs have just increased, and the scope of the operation has increased. So it wasn't a surprise to them, but apparently they took it that way and have been, is there a good word for it? Aggressively pushing back on the fees. So what I'd like to do is just go through the fees, if you want to go to the next slide. So this is our qualified rate structure for an airline that operates at the airport at 7,500 flights per year, which Allegiant exceeds. 2026 would be $35 a turn. That includes the terminal, the baggage handling system, baggage makeup area, bag claim area, all your ticket stock, all your bag tags, all the computers necessary to run the operation is all included in a $35 fee. It includes RON positions for their planes overnight, 12. Those could be on hard stands. And all the electronics and everything that it takes to run the terminal, FIDs, bids, GIDs, everything is included in that. So we're providing the gate computers, we're providing the ticket counter computers, we're providing the bag tags, we're providing the ticket stock. All of that is part of our CUP system, our common use system. And so that's all included in $35 a turn. Now that increases over the 5-year contract to $60 a turn. I think that has been part of we originally went in at 60 and said, these are the costs, this is where they asked us to go back, look at it, see if we could escalate it through the years. Let's go to the next slide. We also offered a discount, and I think it's a pretty significant discount. They've been growing at about 10% a year on average for their entire time they've operated here. Some years it's been 35%, some years it's been 5%, but the average has been over 10% a year. if they hit 10% a year, we're offering them a 50% discount in that $35 fee for next year, for this year. So it's not an insignificant discount if they grow. And that's always been my thing with the Legion is we can continue being an extremely low-cost airport as long as their growth exceeds our cost growth. And it has. 2019 was tough, 2020 was tough, and 21 with the pandemic, but you know, for the most part, we have exceeded our cost growth with their passenger growth so that you know, our income has met the needs of the airport. So the next slide is
James, hold on. Is that 50% discount? Can you go back to that, Kelly?
Sure.
Is that 50% discount, 50% of the $40?
Yes,
So it would go down to $20?
$20 per term.
Okay.
So this is the landing fee. I think we were the only airport in their system that did not charge a landing fee. Airfield costs, although most of it is covered by federal grants, that does not include nav aids, tower, airfield lighting costs. All those are on us. And I've been fighting with the federal government since I got here 20 years ago. We own all of the nav aids on the airport with the exception of the PAPIs and reels on 22. Why that is, I don't know. No other airport I have talked to or know of owns PAPIs and reels on every runway. We also own the ILS, so it's a significant amount of money. Now, we own that prior to Allegiant getting here. We did put in the ILS during the direct air days, and we bought that ILS from the FAA or from another airport that was throwing it away. It is not state-of-the-art, but there are over 400 of them across the U.S. It's a fairly common ILS, so we can get parts, although it's becoming more and more difficult. We have tried to get the FAA to take it over, and we're still trying. But the 55 cents per thousand, which is $80 a flight for an A320, $84 a flight for a 737, would cover the cost of our ARF, our airfield nav aids, airfield maintenance. And one thing we do that is not a requirement, but is a huge benefit to the airline, they've said it over and over, is we have non-federal weather observers. We require all of our operations staff to get trained and pass a weather observer test. We're one of the few airports in the nation that do it. What that means is when the federally owned weather observation system goes out, which happens once a month, if not more. It is a 50-year-old system. Obviously, they've upgraded parts throughout the years, but it is still a very old system. Still has copper wires running to it to run everything. Airplanes can't land. Commercial flights can't use the airport. With the towers here, they can augment the system, but when the tower closes at 9 o'clock and before it opens at 6 a.m., commercial flights can't operate unless we augment the weather. They have told us that, well, we have found 31 flights last year were able to use the airport after the tower closed and with our weather observation system, our weather observers augmenting the data. They have told us that that saves them $75,000 an operation. Because if they have to divert to Sarasota or RSW, then they have to get all those people here. And that's not the expensive part, it's getting the aircraft back here, because that crew's timed out. Now they have to get another crew, they have to go down there, pick the plane up, get it back here. So that's something we don't have to do, but we do for their benefit. And, you know, it's not included in the 55 cents because it doesn't cost us a lot, but it's a benefit that they're getting that we provide. Go to the next slide. So we went around and talked to the other airports, and obviously the two that are the most important big Allegiant bases are Sanford and Pye. Sarasota is another medium-sized Allegiant base. But we looked at their fees, and you can see St. Pete went from 210 to 236. Sanford, they changed. They're now running their terminal. Before it was a terminal operator, so they don't have the previous year, but they're at 246 this year. Gainesville, that doesn't have Allegiant but has Sun Country, it's 707. Sarasota, which has a pretty significant Allegiant presence, is at 876. I think what struck me the most when I got these numbers, and I had talked to Sarasota about a year ago, is they went from 749 this year to 876, over $1 increase. Our estimated CPE, and this is cost per enplanement, cost per passenger, our estimated CPE with our new fees would be 73 cents. So we are still considerably cheaper than our neighbors, and I think considerably cheaper than anybody else in their system. And I think that's the reason I wanted to talk to you guys before we present this contract to you, and want to give you the contract with a couple of weeks to review it. It's a robust document. It's been reviewed by both Kaplan and Kirsch's attorneys, who are FAA attorneys, and Eric Smith is their airline agreement specialist. He did most of the review on this, and then him and Daryl collaborated on the state portion, and Jack spent all night reading it and says it's a great document. But I wanted to give you guys some time so that this wasn't new. This is a document that is new to us, but it has been thoroughly gone through by Chad and then our attorney teams. So it's a new document. I didn't want to just throw it at you next week and have that be the only time you've seen it, so you'll have it to go through. As I said, you'll be approving the Sun Country agreement at the next meeting, and hopefully this one. The reason I wanted to have this discussion was we went to Allegiant headquarters to present this, and we got a lot of pushback. We've been continually modifying our agreement based on some of their conversations to help their budget and work this in over the next few years so it's not a shock to the system. One of the things they said, which frustrated me a lot, is those of you who have been around a while know that they operate in Pye as their, I think that is their second largest base. We're their third or fourth, depending on the year. Pye was going from $2.10 to $4, and that's to cover a significant terminal expansion. Mind you, we're not asking for them to cover any of our terminal expansion. We have that covered through our own funding. They decided that they didn't like the increase, and their senior executives called the board and got Tom fired. And so when we were there, I got grabbed in the hallway and said, we know the playbook to keep our rates low. And I felt like that was a little bit of a direct threat. So I wanted you guys to have all the data in case next week you start getting calls. I don't think that we are asking for a lot. I think we're asking for what's necessary. I mean, we're trying to cover about 20% of the total, but about 90% of the fees that didn't exist when they started 10 years ago. Mainly fire, which is about $700,000 a year, and police, which is about $200,000 a year, let's see, $350,000 a year. So, I mean, that's the reason I wanted to have this discussion. I just wanted you guys to have all the facts. If you get a call from Allegiant's lobbyist, I think he was the one that made the calls in St. Pete. 73 cents an emplanement is probably still the cheapest in their system. And I just wanted that out there.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's interesting, when you have a chance, he did a summary of what historically are airline rates and charges, either a residual or compensatory method, which is or a hybrid method, which is the old school I come from, and then you have the Punta Gorda method, which over the years I've come to accept. But
yeah, our method puts all the onus on us.
yes, exactly right. And there's no responsibility of all the $100 million we got going on and expansion and all that. I kind of looked at this through a more simple version of the rates and charges. The total estimate with the increases is what, annual? About
Less than $1 million.
what? The increase is less than $1 million with the, so were they at about $2 million a year?
Oh,
Less
well,
than that.
So we're separating the fueling operation.
Right, and they shouldn't get credit for it. Yeah, I understand
that's,
that. Yeah.
because at every other airport, that's an FBO. It's a private FBO
Right.
doing it. So the fueling operation is about $100 a flight, $79, $75, $60.
About 550,000 a year.
Yeah, okay, about 600.
Yeah, if you put the two numbers together, it's about $120 a landing when you put both of them
Probably
together.
everything together.
Everything together. And if you go back historically, like last year we handled 2.2 million passengers, and we got about $1 million in revenue. It figures out we get 50 cents a passengers under the old rates. 50
Now-
cents a passenger. And then you start thinking about things, okay, there are 2.2 million passengers that went through this airport. And if the average ticket was $200, that figures out to $440 million a year of a revenue base for them, which is huge. And they're getting to use this place for $1 million or $2 million a year. They got a $1 billion airport attached to it.
So we also have to keep in mind, and,
Yeah,
and
it's
this
a
is something
balance.
I keep
Yeah.
in mind, is airline-related revenue from parking, rental cars, concessions, is still over 65% of our revenue.
And their argument is if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have that
Wouldn't have
revenue.
that revenue.
So there's that balance between those two. It's this is an unusual airport when you look at the airport industry. And
And that's not the case in, for example, Sarasota, right?
So Sarasota is a very, their model, although we copied a lot of their language, they charge a fixed fee to use the square footage that they use in the terminal. Allegiant rented all 5 of their new ground boarding gates when that terminal opened. And if they put 5 flights a day in there, they pay a fixed fee. If they put 40 flights a day in there, they pay a fixed fee. So there has been a push to grow that airport to lower their costs. Their landing fee is per landing, but their terminal costs aren't. We tried that. I tried to fix their rates so that when they grow, and they push back very hard on that. So we're at the same number. It's just if they shrink, if there's another COVID, if there's another 9/11, if there's another reason, they don't have any fixed costs.
that's right, they don't
Again,
pay.
puts all the onus on us to keep our costs low, which as a businessman, I don't mind. I understand budgeting. It's just, there's a lot of expenses, and that's what we're trying to cover in the 73 cents that did not exist when we originally put this model together.
So right now, our CPE is 0,
Basically, we're at 0.
and Allegiant's pushing back because we want to go to potentially 73 cents.
So they pushed back extremely hard when St. Pete increased 100%, which is what they
Okay.
said, from $2 to $4. We're going from 0 to 73, so you can imagine the pushback. It's an infinite percentage increase. I don't,
Do you know if Allegiant has signed their 26 agreements with at least these airports here?
so.
Or are they already set in place already?
They're in place. So Sarasota's a multi-year deal. Pi extended their $2.10, even though their landing fee is variable. That's another thing. Let's go back to the landing fee slide real fast. We're fixing their landing fee at no more than a 5% growth per year. Landing fees are usually based on experience. So you take the prior year experience and you set your landing fee on that. We're even giving them the benefit of knowing what that fee's maximum growth is. And that's what these numbers are, maximum growth. We fixed it for 2 years, and then we said no more than 5% increase per year. So 3 years ago, when we had $1 million repair on the runway that was not a federal grant covered repair, that would have gone into the landing fee calculation for the next year.
So when does their current lease expire with us?
December 31st of this last year.
Last year.
So it's expired.
We have given them a 1 month. We were hoping to bring this to the November meeting. We have been having phone calls multiple times a week, all through November, all through December. We had one Christmas Eve. We're hoping to have this for next week's agenda. They would have to have had it to us today to present that agenda to you, and we did not have it, and that was the reason I wanted to schedule this meeting to discuss it. So I will tell you, there are a few things we can do. They will become a non-participating airline, which would increase their rates tremendously. I don't think that's a good idea for anybody. If they don't sign this, we can do rates by resolution, which a lot of airports have gone to.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's called rates by resolution. It's just you set the rates and the rates and charges.
Yep.
Here's what it is.
So they're paying $14 plus at RSW?
Yes.
Yes. Don't ask me why they're even there, but.
Now,
14
they're
bucks.
getting
And they're pushing back on 73 cents?
they're getting a discount for a year on a lot of their landing fees and their terminal rents, but they pay any airline that operates there that is a non-signatory airline, so, and Allegiant would be a non-signatory. If you're a signatory, you have debt to the airport that you're having to cover, and so the non-sigs don't, but they're paying $500 a flight to use the bag makeup area. That's where they go take the bags off the carousel, put them onto a cart, and take them out to the plane. $500 a flight. We don't charge for that. I guess I wanted to have this meeting so you guys were aware of the negotiations that staff has been having, the time that we've spent traveling there, meeting with them, and I wanted you to have all that information in case their team starts calling, in case they use the same tactics they used in Pi. I do not think we are asking for a lot. I think we're asking for what we need. We'll continue to make $12 to $13 per enplane passenger from our other fees. That goes into paying our electric bill. I mean, just go through some of the Electric's $200,000 a year, water is $40,000 a year, custodial is $600,000 a year. I mean, we're covering all of that. We're not even asking them to cover that because we're covering that with rental cars and with parking. Our liability insurance, which has gone from about $20,000 a year to $171,000 a year. Property insurance, $69,000 a year on the terminal. That hasn't, we don't even know what the property insurance is on the baggage handling system yet. Do we? We ought to add that since it's almost done. Covers, all of our landside ops that do, the parking, that do the shuttle buses. We're not asking them to cover any of that. That we're covering out of all the ancillary revenues.
James, maybe I'm missing something. The previous screen showed a 30-cent per passenger, right? It was 30 cents if it was above 7,500.
$35 per, go back one more.
Maybe it was
Yeah.
right there.
So if they do 7,500 operations a year, it's $35 per flight.
Okay. Now, Kelly, can you
Per
go
flight,
to the
not per passenger.
Yeah.
2 more screens then? So then this 55 cents comes in
That's-
per plane.
So they're two different fees. One's a landing fee and one's a terminal use fee.
Okay, and then can you go one more then? So is it 73 cents plus the 55
No,
cents?
that 73
plus the-
cents is the sum of those two
Okay,
fees.
all right, I got it now.
That's based on an average load factor of about 80%.
So what is Allegiant's position, that we should just keep everything the status quo?
Zero. That's
Zero.
And I just signed a 5-year agreement. I want to make sure when I leave the airport, it is as stable as can be. I think this 5-year agreement with Allegiant would ensure that both we're not deviating from our model. Our model is we're a low-cost airport. We're continuing that. 73 cents is significantly lower than anybody. At Gulf Shores, they just opened a new base in Gulf Shores. Very similar to us when we opened with them in 2009, 52,000 square foot terminal. They're getting a year free, but I was talking to the director there, and their CP will be around $4.50 next year. We have been extremely successful with our model over the last 10 years, and we've been able to grow to meet their demand and our needs without getting bonds, without significant debt, and without charging the airline for that, which everybody else is doing. I mean, RSW, they're doing $1 billion expansion, and it's all on their dime. So the airlines will ultimately pay for it. So they're at 12, going to 14. I don't know what it'll be when the $1 billion terminal opens. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, they're all significantly higher. I don't want to look at those airports. I mean, I looked at RSW because Allegiant just went there. I'm really looking at airports similar to us. Sarasota has grown tremendously. They're debt-free as well, very similar to us in the size of operation, although over the last 2 years they've grown with Allegiant and Southwest. But 2 years ago, they were the same number of enplanements as us, and they were still at $6. When Allegiant went in there, they were around $6.
I think it's important to understand, or at least recognize the fact that the dollars that we're talking about are our dollars. This is what we need, and just because they're getting $14 somewhere else, that doesn't mean we should get $14.
No, and
we should be covering what we need to for that cost area.
And we are a very efficient operation. When Leibowitz and Horton came in and did a financial analysis, they sat down with me and said, James, your model doesn't work. But give us all the information and we'll prove it to you. They came back 4 weeks later and said, don't change a thing. And that was a surprise to at least one board member. But we are, because of our operational efficiencies, we're able to make more money than the average airport with 1 million enplanements. And trust me, there are a lot of airports that would love to have 1 million enplanements. It's not an easy thing to do. We're going to be the 94th largest airport in the US next year.
So
Who
James,
would have thought?
what assurances is Allegiant giving us? I mean, are they?
Zero.
Zero.
All right, so they're not saying we're going to add 10 more flights or 10 more destinations or 20 more or anything else over
Or
the
go
next?
the other way.
Or go the other way.
So that's why I gave you guys a little printout, the Punta Gorda model. It's literally a pay-per-use. If they use the airport 40 times a day, they pay 40 times. If they use it 4, they pay for 4.
So did they sign the contract with Sarasota already?
Yes.
So that went up $1.27.
So in Sarasota, that's their landing fee cost, and probably a CPE, but
That's their,
It's not the
So-
terminal.
yeah, that's their limit.
so that's their total cost. But their landing fee is based on previous year history. So their landing fee went up.
But they had no problem going up $1.27 with Sarasota and not 73 cents with us.
So I had that conversation with Mark, their assistant director, vice president, and I had the conversation about our contract as we were negotiating, and he was shocked that they were having so much pushback, because he said, we just went up over $1 and they didn't bat an eye.
So what is the justification on
For?
Legion's part?
They
On
don't
Legion's
want to.
side, what is their justification to not increase anything?
They've never had to pay a Punta Gorda.
Right. I think there's just being, I think it's just being boiled.
Yeah, I mean, and so I guess what I said to them is, like, listen, you guys have had a 10-year initial cost that you're getting at most airports for a year free. And I'm only asking, we've taken the cost 10 years ago and the cost today and said, these are the things that didn't exist. We did not pay for fire. I will tell you, I took this job, and within a week, the county sent me a $1.2 million, talk about a slap in the face, $1.2 million invoice for fire services. Now, it took me 2 months to negotiate and get the actual cost. It's about $600,000 at that point, and it increases based on their union contract. But that didn't exist 10 years ago. We were paying $21 an hour for Leos 10 years ago. We call the sheriff in May and say, what are your rates going to be next year? We're not increasing our rates. October, they call us and say we're going from $60 to $67 an hour. So we get hit with rate increases that we don't know about, that aren't in our budget. And those are the things that I'm trying to get covered. And mind you, we're telling Allegiant these are the rates. We have no wiggle room in that. The 73 cents goes up to $1 over the years. The sheriff and the fire is something that both are, the sheriff we have no control over, we can't negotiate at all, and fire, they're going to have a new contract in the next couple of years, and we'll have to go back into negotiations with the county on that.
We own,
We own the apparatus,
in the station.
and the station is owned and maintained by the county. It's on our land. They pay $1, so nothing.
And we own the truck,
We own the trucks,
and
and
we provide the personnel.
they provide 2 people 24 hours a day. Yeah,
I'm
we
only
pay for
recapping
training.
that because of recent conversations, but yes, thank you.
Well, and trust me, those conversations got to Allegiant too, and that's another thing that's concerning is Allegiant's concerned that the county's backing off of the assistance that they give us in marketing, through the bed tax. I mean, we do things through the VCB. I know that was one of the commissioners said, we're going to look at all of that. And Allegiant watched that meeting, and so I know when we called this meeting, I got a call from Hector, Kay. I'm sure a few of you got calls from the county commissioners wanting to know what's going on. Our partnership with Allegiant is good. That there's not a place to put 12 aircraft tomorrow, so I don't think it's going away. I just think I wanted you to be aware of the negotiations that have been ongoing if you get calls.
Let me kind of throw a wild idea out. What if you went back in the negotiations and said, all this information was presented to the board and we're ready to sign that contract? You see what I'm saying? That we're all aware of the contract, we're all aware of the details, and we're giving them a really good deal, and I don't know if that would push them. Of course, the downside is if they reduce service, but
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But I don't know
Well,
what the board members
I
feel.
think at the January meeting, I don't want to sign a contract without, I'm going to say this, after the county's reaction to the sheriff's hangar contract, I'm not bringing aboard any contracts that aren't signed.
That's not, I'm sorry, what?
I generally have a policy that the board does not sign first on any contracts.
Yeah.
They come to the board signed. I deviated from that with the county's sheriff's hangar contract just because the meetings didn't line up and the county had negotiated with us and there were no problems.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we signed that contract in advance of Allegiant. I'm saying
Well,
is
after
that
this-
we're aware of all the contract details, and the board is happy.
No, I have
would
a
assume
phone
with
call
it.
with them this afternoon, and I'm going to give them an update on this meeting and tell them that we're ready
Yep,
to
we're ready.
execute. And that Sun Country's approved. They signed
Yeah.
theirs.
And this is identical to what Sun Country has done?
Yes. Now,
So-
Sun Country has much fewer flights, so their rates are much higher. They're $300
$300 a turn.
$300 a turn.
So I know Allegiant doesn't want to pay anything, which is common.
Yeah.
But have they acknowledged that the cost of doing business has gone up?
Yes.
So are they acknowledging that although they don't want to pay, they may be willing to pay something?
Oh, yes, they're very tough to negotiate with. I'll tell you some inside facts, inside knowledge that I have.
But James, hold on, but have they indicated if they're willing to pay, what they're willing to pay?
No. So we had a conversation with them Christmas Eve, or the day before that, the 23rd, after we have basically negotiated with the airport staff, their airport affairs staff who do the negotiations. And we're in agreement with everything, the 73 cents and the increases through the years. They then presented that to the VP of Planning and the CFO, and that's where they got pushback. What are they willing to pay? They won't tell us that. It's zero is what they want to pay.
Well, that seems out of good faith.
I think
I mean, we presented an offer, they won't present a
they countered,
counteroffer?
we
Zero.
negotiated. I don't think, I guess to answer your question, if we went back at 50 cents, they would still.
They'd still say zero.
So
But normally, you know, I mean, in every mediation I've been involved with, I send over 73 cents, they come back with zero. You have an idea of what they're thinking. But from here, we have nothing from Allegiant. I mean, they're saying zero, when in fact they could be thinking, hey, you know, we might be doing 50, but they've proposed nothing back to us.
no, and they won't.
So they've put our back against the ropes with it.
They won't. And so
And
that's
that's
why
historically.
I'm telling the board, at the next meeting, I think we either are going to have a contract from Allegiant that we can sign, or we're going to have to set rates. And because we can't operate without the rate structure in place. We already have it with one airline. You've got to, you know,
Everybody's
everybody
saying-
has to be on the same page.
So when we set our rates, they have to pay it,
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever we set.
It's like an ordinance.
just
or-
like setting,
But there's no contract, just set rate.
Tampa just went to rates by resolution. I think Orlando is going to rates by resolution. It's just, and it's much easier when you have 25 airlines to just say, here's what you pay, instead of trying to negotiate with 25. We have two. It's generally an easier operation. Like I said.
I mean, their alternative would be if they left here, they'd go pay $14 at RSW.
No, they probably couldn't get in.
They can't. They have one gate from 10 to
Right.
But
noon.
if they moved anywhere else, they're gonna pay significantly more than what we wanna charge them.
Yeah.
But, you know, they got a
Makes
market
no
here.
sense to me.
Commissioner Leskovich, I'll just say, we kind of had that mediation conversation a couple of times. We were at a rate that was a little higher than the 73 cents. Through some of those negotiations, we've come down, and we thought that was, they agreed on that. And through those negotiations, that's where those incentives came out as well. That was something that they had desired that we consider, and we were able to make that work. So, you know, we came back with what we're presenting to you, to Allegiant. And like James said, seemed to be agreed upon. And then when they took that up to their higher-ups, that's when they got the pushback. I honestly don't think that we can, in good faith, go a whole lot lower than
Yeah.
where we're at. I think this is about the floor.
I mean, that's more than generous
So,
compared to other airports.
like I said, we can discuss it for another 3 hours. It's not going to change anything. I've negotiated this really tough with them. I think it's fair. If their CFO or if their lobby team starts calling you guys,
Okay.
you have the facts.
They're
Get copies of the
They're going to
slides,
pull the
too.
political thing.
Yeah.
I didn't see them in the packet. so.
Can you get copies of the slides and send them to the commissioners? Okay. Any
No,
more
it's good to have
discussion
the
on?
information, though. That's-
Jack, can we vote on something today, or is this more of
it's-
informational? Can
Well,
we suspend bylaws momentarily to
Well,
take a consensus vote?
This is a regular, emergency meetings, you can have votes, so this isn't a workshop.
The answer is yes, you have a quorum, and you can vote on anything you want to vote on today, which related to this. I think it's been indicated you're better off not voting at this particular time, and let the process go along.
We do need to vote on the next item.
So Allegiant has this now.
They've had it for over a month. Well, we've been negotiating it for 6. They've had the actual
Document.
final document for over a month.
And what we have is the proposed final document.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to read through this and absorb, as well as the slides for supportive information. And I would like to understand more of, you know, this partnership and this relationship that we have. It goes both ways, and I feel like there's a good faith negotiation. Certainly, unless I'm missing something on our part, you know, we need some more answers and some justifications. That I want to hear more on their side of what and why. Because to me, I'm not seeing the flag, like what, you know, okay, there's something missing here.
Well,
because everything you're presenting to me is more than fair.
I will tell you one thing they said, and, you know, 7 years ago when they announced, 5 years ago, Sunseeker, they were anchored to Punta Gorda through the hotel. Their planning department, their VP of planning, said it's obvious that Punta Gorda is not a draw. You have an airport, Southwest Florida is the draw. Sarasota's a draw, Fort Myers is a draw. It's obvious Punta Gorda is not the draw.
Well, we have over 2 million people a
Because
year.
Sunseeker failed in their minds. Now, I will also tell you that they weren't happy about the corporation building a hotel, just as there were a lot of Delta employees not happy when Delta bought a oil refinery. You know, they're getting out of their core business, and I don't think that's a fair statement because, you know, Fort Myers, Punta Gorda were all, you know, Fort Myers markets Boca Grande fairly heavily. It's a lot closer to us than it is to them. So there is a draw to our area, but I think that was the shot across our bow is you guys are just an airport that's convenient. You're not the draw. And, you know,
Well, we're not a draw for a $700 million resort, obviously. In that regard. But the numbers for the airport speak for themselves.
Yeah, so
So you
what's our
can't-
projected plane this year?
we'll be at $1.1 million, $1.2 million in plane passengers. So 2+ million passengers a year. They're looking at like 4% growth is what they projected.
Our increase is nowhere near 4%.
So just wanted to get that out, just wanted to get it circulated, discussed. I would have done this one-on-one, but I think it's better that you all hear everything and ask questions in public, and then, you know, if you want to call me, I will tell you I'm going to be out a little next week, and that's the reason I want to move the January 15th meeting.
Chair will entertain a motion to move the January 15th regular meeting to January 22nd.
So moved. January 22nd.
Second.
I can make that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, with that, adjourn the meeting.
All right, thank you.